Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Appreciate everybody for listening or watching. Coach Spurrier will be on today. Robbie Andrew will be on today. We always have them on Mondays, or not always, but most of the time we have them on Mondays. Thursday, Allie Peak Wilbur will join us. Of course, she does a podcast of her own and does a great job. Of course, Eric Wilbur's wife, and you know the story of Allie Peak Wilbur. Okay, we'll talk to her about Gator football, and then Coach, on Monday, Coach Spurrier will be back here from his trip to New Haven, Connecticut. So we'll have him. And then Tuesday, we're going to do a special show. We've talked about this before. Matt McCall and Mark Wise are going to join us on that show. And we're going to have a special NCAA tournament show. So it'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it, to be honest with you, just to talk to those guys. I'm just going to throw things out there. I'm not going to even be offering hardly any opinions, but of course, you know better than that. All right, let's get to our Process Service of Gainesville Starting Five, brought to you by, as always, Process Service of Gainesville, Scott Hart. Appreciate him. Appreciate all of our great sponsors. Let's start with number one. And I got to start with this because the biggest story of the weekend was basketball's loss. It was a game that I think a lot of people are going, oh, boy, you better be ready to play. It's a hard place to play. Memorial Magic, all that crap. No, they just played like crap. And look, it wasn't because it wasn't, sometimes you lose a game in that gym. And I don't know if you've ever been to that gym. The gym is bizarre. But sometimes you lose a game in that gym and you go, well, the gym, being on the baselines and all that. No, they shot over 50%. That's fine. They just didn't play good basketball. They had 16 turnovers. They got beat on the boards. Their coach called them soft after the game, and they hadn't been soft all year, especially late in the year. But they were soft on that one day. I said this in my column for WRUF.com, and I believe it. Might be the best thing that happened to this team. Every time they would play a game, everybody would be talking about this team could be in the second weekend easily. They're so good. They got so much talent. Yeah, I don't disagree with any of you on any of that. Excuse me. The pollen, I'm going to get to my pollen story in a minute, but it is killing me today, and it's been killing me all week. But the bottom line is this team is – it was pretty much the same game they played all year, though. Now, it wasn't about the gym. It was about that they didn't come ready to play. And it wasn't – I was watching the game, and I didn't think they didn't come with energy, but they didn't come with mental energy. And the focus wasn't there. That's why you get 16 turnovers. That's why Riley Kugel has 5. And actually, other than the turnovers, I thought Riley Kugel really played one of his better games defensively, doing some other things. And then Walter Clayton Jr., I don't know what he was thinking on that pass. And, again, it's a loss. It's over. Nothing to, Is there anything to worry about? Well, I don't know about that. But the bottom line is it is what college sports is. It's what all sports is. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Dun, 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 dun. That's what you had at the beginning of It's a Wide World of Sports. And that's what it is. But that's what it is every day in all sports, not just college sports. Thrill of victory, agony of defeat. If you're playing in basketball, it's every couple of weeks or days you're going to have that. You get to the tournament, it's definitely every 2 days you could have either one. So, look. Hopefully they learned. And maybe they learned. And maybe everybody over on that campus is finally realizing this. Patrick Young brought it up. Other people have brought it up. I'm bringing it up again. Stop with the black jerseys. If you can't win in them, quit wearing them. How about that? Like you did with Arkansas. You lost the game that really defined your season with your black jerseys. And you lost the basketball game that may define your season with the black jerseys. How about not wearing them? However, of course, players love to wear them. They look of them. They are very attractive unis. Stop wearing them. Your orange and blue are your colors. I don't recall black being one of those colors. It's not. Black is not a color. It's an absence of color. That's all I'm saying. But I know that a lot of players like it, both sports and all sports. But if you keep losing in them, stop. All right, number 2 is, obviously on the process service of Gainesville starting 5. Obviously the Gators will be playing either Georgia or Missouri on Thursday night. And I'm not saying Florida could get knocked out of the NCAA tournament, but you better be careful here. I mean, if you lose to Missouri, a team that has not won an SEC game this year, after losing to Vanderbilt, a team that had won 3 SEC games, you could end up in the playing game. If you lose to Georgia, we've beaten them twice. I don't think it would be as bad. And I think Georgia will beat Missouri, but just be careful. Go out there with a purpose. Go out there and play well. I know it's hard. Look, 9:30 games are not easy for anybody, and I think it's ridiculous that they play it that late. But again, it's in Nashville. 9:30 game. If it starts at 9:30, it could start at 10. You're over at midnight. That's what they want, and that's what the fans like. It's not what Pat Dooley likes, and it's all about me, as you know. But it should be an absolutely wonderful tournament. I'm picking Kentucky to win it, which no big shocker there. They'll have the most fans there. Even though it's amazing, they'll have the most fans there. Even though Tennessee is in its own home state, Kentucky will still have the most fans there, and especially Kentucky fans are just jacked after literally being the better team on the floor in Knoxville on Saturday. I did not see that coming, to be honest with you. All right, let's get to number 3 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, which is that spring is definitely sprung now because we have football action. Gators out there practicing. I listen to what Billy Napier is saying, and it's what I've been saying all summer. All spring. It's not spring, is it? Technically, no. It's all right for the last month or so. It's what I've been saying. This is their best roster. They're hungry, they're ready, they're fired up. Graham Mertz is ready to go. They got some real studs in there. Got to go show it. I get asked the question daily, what do you think about the Gators this year? What do you think about them? And I always tell them the same thing. I have no idea. They have a tough schedule. They got to go at least 4-1 in the first 5 games. I've said this a million times. This is what I think, but none of it matters what I think. If you lose to Miami to start the season, it's probably not going to go well. Beat Miami, beat UCF, get some wins early, get some confidence. You've got some talent on this team. There's no doubt about it. But it was just kind of interesting to hear Billy kind of saying everything in his first press conference of the spring, saying everything I've been saying for the last few weeks, what I was trying to say earlier. Got a good team. They got good players. The coaching staff's had a lot of changeover. We'll see how that works out. But we have no idea how that's going to work out. You hired an offensive line coach, a second offensive line coach. He's got to introduce himself to the players just days before. So we'll see how it goes. As I always say, spring and fall camp are about 2 things. One, the things the coaches know, the coaches pay attention to in terms of details and getting ready to play. And 2 is not getting anybody hurt. That's all that matters. I think did Zipper get hurt last year in the spring, or was it early fall? It might have been early fall. Anyway, keep guys healthy, get to, then have a good summer. We'll see what happens there. Let's get to number 4 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, which is Florida baseball, which was an interesting weekend, no doubt about it, and that they won on Friday night on a walk-off Saturday was kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, how badly they got. I mean, they could not get guys out for St. Mary's. And St. Mary's is a good team. A lot of seniors on that team. They're a good team. But if for Florida to compete the way they need to compete, you got to play better. And then on Sunday, Jack Caglione comes in and throws a no-hitter for 6 innings. And they run roll him. And you're like, what? Didn't this team score like 100 runs in the first 2 games? So, again, it's just another step in the formation of this team. And we'll see how it goes. But it's going to get really interesting, obviously. On Tuesday night, they got FSU, which has not lost a game. Now, I don't know that FSU's won a big game. They played a lot of average teams. They beat Notre Dame in their first series, which they're not very good this year, I don't think. Or maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe FSU's really gotten good. And then you got Texas A&M, and they're undefeated. Okay, it's going to be a fun week here. And it's also going to be a fun week because Saturday, my wife has organized her own little birthday thing, even though her birthday's not till Tuesday, where we're all going to go to the game. So I'm looking forward to that against Texas A&M. That's number 4. Number 5 on process service of Gainesville starting 5. And the only reason I put it number 5, because it was the best thing that happened this weekend, Florida-wise. I put it 5, though, because by the time you listen to this, they could have already played another game. But Florida softball, I want to give them props. Great performance by them. I did not see they go to Alabama. Alabama's 10th in the country, and you're like, we'll see how that pitching holds up. Don't forget the last game they pitched, the 2 freshmen, I think they gave up 20 runs or something like that. It was crazy. They just couldn't get anybody out. And then they both go out there and pitch great. Ava Brown pitched great on Saturday night or Sunday night. I watched that game, although I only watched a few innings because the stupid game before it went like a bunch of innings and couldn't get over with. Anyway, they win. And they win both games. They win the series. So we'll see what happens Monday night. But 21-3 right now they are. This is a good team. We'll see how it goes in the conference, but it's a good team. And I think he set it up to – I think Tim Walton has kind of set this season up to build this team's confidence in the non-conference because it's such a young team. But you get in the conference play, it gets different. But to win the first 2 games against Alabama, obviously one of their biggest rivals, was huge, I thought. So that is our process service of Gainesville starting 5. And I don't even have this listed, and I realize that nowhere on my all my other stuff that we'll get to have I mentioned this. But I did want to shout out to men and women's track and field because they finished 2nd in the women and 3rd in the men. Now it's gotten to the point with Mouse Holloway where you go, oh, they didn't win? Finished 2nd and 3rd, okay? And Parker Valby won again. She's unbelievable. I know that people don't realize how incredible of an athlete she is. And again, she's a long distance runner. The movie I remember the movie I saw a long time ago when I was a kid actually. It was called The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember much about it. But anyway, it was I think I saw it at the St. Augustine Drive-In. But she's been unbelievable. Won the cross country national championship. Now won the indoor national championship. She's pretty impressive. And hopefully they can get, hey, he's got 2 more chances to win a national title, Mouse. I mean, we expect one every year, right? Of course we don't, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. We'll be back after we take this break here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We'll come back with Coach Spurrier, and then we'll bring in Robbie Andrew a little bit later as well to do Yes, Nowhere, maybe all that and more coming up here on another Dooley Noted podcast.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Duly Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it. Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Meldon Law is also the sponsor of Coach Spurrier on Mondays. We love having Meldon Mondays when Coach Spurrier is on. And today we can talk a little bit about an award you're going to get this weekend. So how many – are you going to put it in here? Where are you going to put it? I mean, the Walter Camp Character Award.
Well, actually, the Walter Camp Award they give to the college football player, it's in the trophy case. I somehow or another got that one. But this is the Walter Camp Distinguished American Award. They called me, 6 months ago or so, and asked if I could be there. You got to be there. They're going to go pick somebody else. But it's pretty neat because it's given to a man or woman. It's not a player or a coach. It's a person who has done well in his profession and is maybe a pioneer. They use that word, a pioneer. In other words, you did it a little differently. You were a pioneer,
I can tell you.
A little differently, and everybody else did it, and was very successful.
No doubt about that.
It was a nice honor, and I really sort of, those are on honoring you as a person the way you did it. And we did it a little differently and had success doing it. And hopefully dedication and teamwork and all those kind of things were demonstrated with our teams. But, the Walter Camp Committee up in Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah. So you got to fly all the way to
Hartford, Connecticut is where they have it. So Jerry and I'll fly up Friday, come back Sunday. So
just in time for another Duly Noted podcast on Monday,
we'll be here Monday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's quite an honor. And again, you've received so many honors, but I mean, I'm sure it doesn't get old.
Well, the part I liked about this when they sent the introduction part of this, that, and the other was a person that's a pioneer in his profession. Mm-hmm. And, growing up in East Tennessee, my favorite pioneer was Davy Crockett.
Yep.
Because he went places nobody had ever been before. So there was something neat about that. And then obviously Davy Crockett died in the Alamo trying to save our country. So he is, a little kid growing up in Tennessee, he's the biggest hero we had was Davy Crockett.
Now, when you were a kid, did you watch the Davy Crockett TV show?
Oh, we didn't even have TV back then. It wasn't on, I don't think, then.
Well, when I was a kid, it was. Well, and I remember, I can tell you that Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier.
Oh, yeah, I knew that song in the second grade. Right. And we sang it about every other week, it seems like, the Davy Crockett song.
Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. I know the whole song. I could go all day.
I can go 2 verses. But anyway. So it's nice. It's nice to have some of those honors that, aren't exactly associated with football. The Liberty Bowl actually had one recently, and they'd given it to astronauts and other people. I think Archie Manning and Peyton had both won it.
Right.
So you didn't have to be a coach to win it. Just do something a little different and be successful in your profession, whatever that is.
Well, it's quite an honor, and
It is nice.
obviously you've had a lot of them, and I still think number one, still the stadium being named after you. But you've got
That's very nice.
then you got a long list of other things that have happened to you. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that happened over the weekend. Which one of was basketball not doing well, and Todd Golden called them out. He said they were soft and they didn't rebound. They were soft with the basketball. They had 16 turnovers, and obviously it didn't go well for them. But they need to take care of business up in Nashville.
Yeah,
for
sometimes you play
tournament.
close games and
You lose.
Go the other way. That the guard for Vandy had an excellent game.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Yeah, he was really sensational, and hopefully it won't hurt us too much as we get ready for the tournament. Now it's postseason, so we'll see how far we can go this season.
I think in a way, I'm never a believer that you need to lose a game to, but I think it may help them because they realize we did all these things to have this great finish, right? And then we didn't do any of them in this game, so we know that we got to go back to it.
I was thinking back, the last game of the regular season before the tournament or playoff comes in our 4 SEC championships in a row. We played FSU before every one of them. You know how many times we beat FSU?
During that time?
Yeah, of those 4 games?
Once.
Once is
95,
right.
Yep.
95 was the only one. We lost in 93, 96, and we had that infamous tie. So we only beat them once, but we regrouped because our goal was to win the SEC every year. It really was. If, we played well and the ball bounced our way a little bit. So we regrouped and, of course, won those 4 in a row.
Maybe you could go give Todd's team a little bit of a – you don't need that.
Oh, no, he's ready. He's
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think he's sharp. His assistants, they didn't play their best. You don't always play your best. Even the South Carolina women, they were very fortunate to beat Tennessee. I've never seen.
Well, let's get to that.
I've never seen them play quite like that. I tell people, if you people watched it, South Carolina didn't watch it. They were down by 2 points with 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
So they had a chance to throw it in at midcourt, and the person that caught it had to shoot. There wasn't any. There was nothing.
Right.
Like that.
No. Yeah.
So Tennessee, they told their lady that was guarding Cardozo,
Don't worry about Cardozo.
just stay in the paint. I think she was told to stay underneath in case they throw it underneath, and she catches it and tries to shoot. So obviously Cardozo was out there at the 3-point line. They threw it to her. I don't know if she'd ever shot one before.
She never had.
Never attempted one.
Never attempted
but
one.
She threw it up there and it banked in. Game over, 3-point play. And Tennessee was heartbroken. I mean, their coach
they were devastated.
She couldn't stop crying.
No, I
through the
know.
interview.
I know.
It was a heartbreak. But
and then the next day, everybody was crying because of this brawl on the court, which was I don't know if I've ever seen a brother of a player jump over the hockey boards and then over the press tent to get row to get on the floor. And of course, he's been arrested now.
Oh yeah, he was arrested right then.
Yeah,
he grabbed him and walked him.
He's
over
in
to
jail
the side.
as we speak.
Is he? They put him in the okay. I mean,
you can't come.
No, you can't come on the court.
Here's the funny thing, though: you can't come on the court unless it's after the game, and then you can storm the court. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's I don't know about that. That may be a rule that we can enforce.
Yeah.
But it was still great for South Carolina to finish off with an unbeaten record. But obviously, that was not something that was good for women's college basketball. Although maybe it was. Maybe people are going, I want to watch them play again. You know.
Well, it was interesting. Obviously, the rules are you don't have to hit anybody. If you shove them, that's the same as a hit.
Yeah.
I guess in women's sports, in college football, if you give a guy a shove and he shoves you back, all right, y'all get him out.
Stop it.
That's no big deal. But if you throw a punch, it's different.
Yeah.
You can be out of the game if you throw a punch.
Or if you spit at a guy like the guy did last year for Florida.
Yeah, but little shoves here and there, usually not that big a deal. But still, and I didn't realize if you just walk outside your bench area, most of both the teams sort of went out and say, hey, what's going on? But you have to stay in your bench area because they were out the rest of the game. Yep,
they did. There was a bunch of them, too. And actually, Cardozo was suspended for the opening game of the NCAA tournament, which I know South Carolina is worried about. They're only what 30? What are they? 35-0, 30, whatever they are. And now I will say this: they have looked susceptible all year, but they always find a way to win the game.
They do play well when it gets close. The game my wife Jerry and I were up there for. Our granddaughter had a little horse show. So we watched the women and the men play. They played back-to-back that weekend. But Georgia had them up down by 6 at halftime at home.
Yep.
And Dawn had to get their attention at halftime. And then they came back and won by 8 or 10, something like that. But, they're not always dominant, but they find a way to win, that's for sure.
Well, that was the thing. The Tennessee game, I was flipping around, but then I went, I saw a score and I went, Tennessee, I thought this game was over. They were up like 26. Tennessee had come back, take the lead. Devastating. But weird weekend. But also we had a weird weekend for baseball and softball. Baseball lost that middle game, and but they did win the first game. And we'll go to our Campus USA play of the game, which was on Friday night. And there was a lot of things that happened this weekend, but this was, to me, the coolest thing that happened this weekend. And it happened on Friday night. And Florida had almost blown this game. And then Colby Shelton goes oppo for a 3-run homer walk-off in the bottom of the 10th inning. And the place went nuts. That was huge. They turn around the next day and lose. And they can't get anybody out. And then Cags comes out on Sunday and throws a no-hitter through 6 innings.
Okay, and that's against St. Mary's, isn't it?
Yeah, St. Mary's. That's Todd Gold. Todd Gold threw out the first pitch yesterday.
I mean, you see that celebration, you thought we just won the national championship, and we beat St. Mary's. But
they got a pretty good team.
We got a good team. Yeah, we got a good team, and celebrations are more now than they were back in our day, it seems like. But I don't know.
And they stormed the court. And they stormed. In fact,
Yeah.
our friend Donnie Jones, his guys stormed the court after they won the Atlantic Sun, so they're in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I know you were here when Donnie Jones was here. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Good coach. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Does a great job. And then of course softball. Man, I was not expecting that to go to Alabama, get a shutout in the opening game, and then run rule them in the second game. They got a game again tonight. But they're off to a good start, and I know you enjoy that as well.
Yeah, spring sports, you play all these out-of-conference games, and I mean, you're trying to get your team ready for the conference games because I think the league champion is decided regular season games.
Right.
Then they have the tournament, which is nice too, but you want to win the regular season, and then of course you got to have a good record and all that, but. If you lose one early or so, it's losing. It's no fun, but it's not as bad as if you lose a conference game. The SEC games they're just a little bit more important.
They are, and they are. As you could have seen yesterday, they are. There tends to be some vitriol between the two clubs, no matter where you are. In this conference, everybody hates everybody. I think pretty much. But I want to talk to you too about something that started this week. Spring football.
Yeah.
So they're out there and plugging away, and it sounds, everything sounds great what they're saying. But I did like what Billy Napier said, that he's got a hungry team. He thinks, which is something I've said, I think he has his best roster he's ever had at Florida, and I mean he seems optimistic, upbeat going into the season.
Yeah, I said last week I thought we got a chance to win 9 games.
Yep.
So that's a lot more than is predicted. But and I like the idea that maybe we're going to let both those quarterbacks play some. Certainly, Lagway, he needs to get in there and see what he can do. And
they say he sounds great in practice. I mean, so far, but again, it's practice. But you got it still looks good.
Yeah. So let's play both of them and go from there, and hopefully our defense and so forth get a little bit better. All of our kicking, our special teams. I think maybe we need to practice our substitutions, which we probably will.
Yeah.
I think Coach Napier and his guys are smart enough to know, hey, some issues we had last year, let's practice them. So when the season comes around, they're not going to come back to haunt us. So,
that is it's a tight rope that you walk with quarterbacks in terms of whether one plays or another in terms of subbing them in. story. And again, I've never even asked you about this story that you told Rex Grossman one time when I think it was Jesse threw a bad pass for Brock, and you said, "Hey, can you make that throw? Well, then go in and make it." And you ran the same play, right?
Yeah, that was probably against UCF when they weren't very good. That was one of those opening games, and Jesse was looking the wrong place. I mean, and Rex is standing next to him, and I thought he was going to throw it to the guy in the seam area, and he threw it somewhere else. And I said, "Rex, can you see that he was open over there?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "We're going there and throw it." Same thing. But that was you could do that back in those days.
Yeah.
It was a little simpler, it seems like.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's going to be the interesting part of this. How do you handle these two quarterbacks? Because you don't want to just not play. I mean, people want to see Lagway play. I mean, in some capacity. And certainly Florida worked it perfectly with Tebow and Leak back in '96.
He did handle that extremely well. Both of them played every week and played well. But getting back to Jesse, now he had some big, huge plays for us, especially in that 2000 season, which was our seventh SEC, especially up at Tennessee, that last drive that he put together. And he did it, almost every play was a pass play that he hit on that 91-yard drive.
Yep.
So that led to that championship.
Threw 2 touchdowns in that play on that drive because the first one was Boucher. Yeah.
Boucher
he lined up
on the line with the tight end. So we had 2 guys on the line. And we scored twice, but one of them didn't count.
I never understand this when I see a team line up with a wide receiver covering a tight end, and I go, well, it's going to be a run play, right? Because the tight end's ineligible now. So, and again, sometimes that accidentally happens. But if I was a defensive coordinator, I would go, hey, if they're covering up the tight end, they're going to run the ball here. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, but you don't look out there. The linemen and the offensive line and linebackers, they probably don't. Hey, is that guy off the line way out there? No, they don't worry about that. But it's up to the receiver to line up correctly and the coaches to teach him how to line up. Simple as that.
Absolutely. And it's all about that and coaching and getting guys to line up, and there's a lot to it. There's no question about it.
Practice and preparation. Arthur Ashe, I don't know if I told you that quote, but Arthur Ashe, one of the great tennis players of all time.
Absolutely, yeah.
He had 2 words. He said, preparation leads to confidence. Preparation over and over and over again. Man, I know I can do it. I can do it. And then confidence leads to success. Preparation first, and then confidence, and then victories. Pretty simple. Pretty simple, isn't it? That's what you try to do as a coach.
The more you win, the more confident your teams get. That's my problem on the golf course, I think, is I don't hit balls, so I don't have practice.
You don't have confidence?
And I have no confidence.
That's why you got to, preparation. Do it over and over again. These pro golfers nowadays, they play golf all day. Some of them do.
I was going to ask you about Scotty Scheffler winning the Bay Hill because
he didn't miss a shot, did he?
Yeah, he was unbelievable. Yeah,
I think he hit about every green.
So I wonder if he's back. Because he hadn't won in a while, and maybe he's back.
He was still number 1 in the world, though.
He was. Yeah,
that means his putting hadn't been all that great.
Yeah,
and he made some putts this week and made some nice 2 putts, and he hits the ball probably better than any of them right now.
Yeah, I got a new grip on my putter, so I'm excited.
That's
about
helpful.
That.
It is.
Yeah. One of those bigger grips. Yeah. So now I got a little confidence with that putter.
That's all putting is anyway, isn't it? Confidence.
It is. All right, Coach, anything else for you?
Let's see. What do we got coming up this week?
We got a lot.
Tournaments start.
We got tournaments everywhere. We've got, obviously, Gator baseball playing FSU tomorrow. FSU's undefeated coming in here. In baseball? We've got softball playing tonight against Alabama again. And then they are still in conference play. There's all kinds of stuff coming up this week.
Our SEC gymnastics tournament should be coming.
It is. They got one more week, but they
do. Okay.
They were kind of the I don't know. Nobody even paid attention to this weekend because I don't even know where they were tumbling, but it was a weird meet and it wasn't on TV anywhere and. So we couldn't. We tried to find it was on. It was on the Big Ten Plus. I don't get. That's the only channel I don't get. Big Ten Plus. But they won. Yeah. They still won it.
Oh yeah, won the SEC with a victory at Kentucky.
Yep.
And I remember asking Jenny Rowland, I said, now you got several freshmen on the team, don't you? She said, how about 5 of them?
Yeah.
And I think they all compete, don't they?
No, they do. Yeah.
So,
Well, one of them got hurt. Yeah, but the rest of them all do. Well, maybe they had 6 and one of them got hurt. Yeah, but yeah,
I like those coaches, like Jenny Rowland, that says it don't matter if you're a freshman or senior, you get to go compete against the other team.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what year you are. And we got no excuses. If they do a better job than we do as coaches and athletes, then we're going to lose. If we do better than them, we'll be the winner. Yep. So let's go. Let's go do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
No excuses.
That's the attitude you always took.
We tried. We tried to eliminate excuses. That's what you got to do.
And that's why you're going to get a Walter Camp Award on Saturday, right?
Distinguished American. That will be a nice award. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do we need to sir you or give you any kind of a salute because you're a distinguished American? You're already the ambassador. Yeah. So.
I got one from the state of South Carolina. The governor gave me the Order of the Palmetto, which just means you've done a good job helping the state of South Carolina. So that was neat. And I actually got one down here. In fact, Governor was Tim Scott back then. I was coaching up there. Muschamp was the coach here. And I had a picture taken with Jeremy and Muschamp and Governor Scott when he was here. So that had to be, 2005, 6, 7, right in that area sometime, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are there awards that you've gotten that are just sitting in a corner somewhere?
No,
we all display.
There's a bunch
most of them are here. I know that.
Yeah, most of them are around here somewhere.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, Coach. We'll let you go.
All right.
We appreciate you. Again, Coach Spurrier's appearances brought to you by Meldon Law. We'll be back with more of another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And as always, on Mondays, it is the great Robbie Andrew, a man who is able to spread germs with a single leaping bound because his son had a cold. He gave it to Robbie, who gave it to me, who I gave it to Karen. Well done, Robbie.
Yeah, that's one thing I can do well, I guess.
You're a spreader.
Yeah, I am.
All right, so when you watched the Oscars last night, did you ever think you would see John Lennon and Godzilla both get an Oscar within an hour of each other?
No, that was pretty amazing, Pat. The Godzilla thing was pretty funny. They tried their speech. They were trying so hard to get across their message, but the language problem was a problem for them. So,
yeah.
And
it was pretty
I thought
cool.
It was good. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool when Sean Lennon said it's Happy Mother's Day in Japan, so he wanted to wish Yoko a Happy Mother's Day. She's 93.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good point. That was a good moment in the Oscars there.
Hey, anytime a Beatle gets any kind of award, I'm in favor of it, as you know.
Oh, I'm right with you on that one, Pat.
All right, Robbie's coming to us on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, as always, and he will be playing Yes, No, Where, Maybe on our sponsored by Big Mills Cheesesteak, also a sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, where Robbie will be on the 14th hole 2 weeks from today, I guess, the 11th.
I'm looking forward to it, Pat.
Or 2 months, I should say, not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If it was 2 weeks from today, I'd be freaking out. But you'll be out there serving sangria from the Wyndham Company, sponsored by the Wyndham Company, right?
Oh, yeah. The Wyman Company.
Wyman Company. I said Wyndham. I was thinking about the hotel.
Yeah.
The Wyman Company.
But Jill made the sangria Saturday night for a party she went to, and apparently it was a big hit again. Well, so she can take it on the road, baby. She is a good road player. And, hey, you know what? Defense always travels. So we won't get into the Florida Vanderbilt game. I've already eviscerated the Gators on that. But I predicted that loss, though, Pat. I could see it coming.
You and my brother Tim. Tim called me and he goes, "They better take care of business tonight." I go, "Well, it doesn't really matter because if Alabama and Auburn would both have to lose at home," and he goes, "Oh, I didn't know that." And I said, "I hope it softened the blow for him," but I don't know. I just watched it and had to write it up, and that's all I could.
The meltdown at the end was ridiculous to me, and the last turnover looked like it was almost intentional. Like, what was he doing?
It was lazy. I thought it was a lazy
phantom foul call. So it just
total
meltdown at the end.
Robbie, you know one of my rules. You have to play around the officials, even though it was a bad call. I agree. You still got to get the ball in bounds. And if you get the ball in bounds, you get fouled. You make 2 free throws because you got good free throw shooters, and the game's over. I'm not going to. I've already talked about it. Okay, all right.
Instead, they played kickball there.
Yeah. Yes, no way, or maybe with Robbie Andrew. Number one, there's been a lot of talk lately, and in fact, Joe Leonardo addressed this recently about the NCAA expanding to 80 teams. He wants it to expand to 80 teams. He thinks too many teams are getting left out because of the automatic qualifiers. Should the NCAA tournament expand, Robbie? Yes, no way, or maybe.
I'm going to say a definite yes on that, Pat. I mean, you look at the number of colleges that play basketball now, they're leaving out a ton of potential, tournament teams. And, as a basketball fan and a tournament fan, the more games, the better for me. It's like, if you want to expand bowl games of football, I'm all for that. More teams in the state tournament, I'm all for that too.
Yeah,
I don't see a problem with it.
I think the problem is the networks, because the networks want the Final Four to lead into the Masters. The CBS does.
Yeah.
So then you have to move everything back, but we'll see. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on college football. I would like to see a 64-team college football playoff. But I think that's going to happen? But it's more football for us to watch, right?
Yeah, let's play all year round. I'm all for that.
All right, Robbie, number 2 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, one of my good friends and your good friend, Donnie Jones, got Stetson into the NCAA tournament for the first time in the school's history. I watched the whole game. In fact, 2 days ago, I watched the entire game on ESPN Plus because Donnie is such a good guy. We've been texting back and forth, but I'm going to ask you this question. He's in the tournament. Does Donnie Jones and the Stetson Hatters do Donnie Jones and the Stetson Hatters win a game in the NCAA tournament?
I'm going to say maybe, Pat. I mean, he's obviously done a remarkable job in a program that hadn't done anything for so many years. And, I know they're going to be a tough matchup for him, but I think they're going to have a chance. So I'm going to give it a maybe. But he's done a great job down there, and they're really excited about that team and that program now. Did
you watch any of that game yesterday?
No, I didn't. I missed it, but I saw the outcome, which I thought it was great.
That kid Jalen Blackman is ridiculous. I mean, nobody could stay with him, and I think he had 43, and it was just fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch. Yeah. You know what they do though, Robbie? When they have a inbounds pass late in the game, when you really need to get the ball inbounds because the other team is pressing, they go 5 wide on the baseline. They go Spurrier on the baseline. I mean, it's unbelievable, and it works so well for him. And I'm gonna ask Donnie one day whether he got it from Spurrier.
Maybe he did, Pat. That's a great thought there. You're right.
I mean, he was here when they were running 5 wide. All right, finally on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Robbie Andrew. Number 3, you used to say you wanted Lawrence Wright's body. Now you want Jack Caglione's body.
Yeah, I would definitely take that, Pat. You're not going to have many 70-year-old men with a body like his. So.
What about Jack LaLanne? Didn't even have that.
You know who else would really like it? Jill.
All right, so it could be a Jack Caglione or John Cena from last night. I don't know if you saw that when he came out naked.
I did. Yeah, that was amazing to me that he did that. That took some whatever.
Well, yeah, it did. It took, and
when you have a body like that, I guess there's nothing to be ashamed of or anything. So go ahead and do it.
If I had a body like that, I would even had the placard down there, but below. I would just turn it all off. Yeah. All right, Robbie.
Pretty amazing.
As always, fun with Robbie Andrew. We enjoy it, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
Okay, Pat. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thanks to Robbie Andrew for coming on. We always enjoy him after he gave me the flu. But I don't even know if I had the flu, but I do think I did because I felt bad. But now I'm still having to deal with this pollen. Did I tell my pollen story yet? I haven't told it yet.
I don't think so.
So Saturday we had this little flash storm. It was the edge of that front, and so it left like like you have it on your gutters out by your house. There was like a river, right? Which happens all the time. It's no big deal. But as I'm looking at it after it stopped raining, it was completely yellow. That's how much pollen is in the air. It was just nothing but thick yellow pollen running down there. So I'm still dealing with that, but nobody cares about me. And I don't blame you either. But I'm the guy who's getting ready to give away something, including $25 at Leonardo's in Millhopper and a copy of Patrick Young's signed book. And we will send that to the winner. I will tell you this, that I put all the names in a hat at home, picked out a name, and the winner of the Leonardo's draw is Scott. Is it Stowell or Stowell? Stowell? Scott Stowell. You are the winner. So good luck getting a hold of me because I'm not answering any. No, I'm just kidding. So just send me a text or an email, and I will, Patrick Dooley 54. You know how to get that because you entered. I will tell you, Scott was one of the few people that picked North Carolina to win that game. I think only 2 picked North Carolina to win that game. So that got him as a qualifier, and then we picked him out of the hat. But he will win $25 at Leonardo's as well as a copy of Patrick Young's book, and I'll mail it out to him as soon as I get his in. No, well, not as soon as, because it tends to be about a 3-day process for me to go, oh, I forgot about sending that book out. So we'll do that. I promise you'll get it, Scott. I don't think Scott's won before. I don't remember that name coming up. Anyway, let's get to our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. And we had a lot of options here, obviously. None of them were in basketball. Baseball, softball, track. I could definitely have gone with Parker Valby. I could have gone with Caglione. I could have gone with a lot of people. But in honor of our great producer, Zach Rothrock, the winner of our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend is Keegan Rothrock, who pitched a 2-hit, or was it 2 hits? 1 hit. 1-hit shutout against Alabama on Saturday to get the weekend started off right. And believe me, on a Saturday when the Gator baseball team lost and the Gator basketball team lost, it was the only good thing that seemed to happen that day. She's 9-2 now. So I remember when you brought her up, you said, hey, is there a girl named Rothrock on the team? Yeah, that's not a popular name. I don't see that name a lot. But and you haven't had contact with her yet, though, have you?
I haven't.
Okay, we'll have
They
to.
sell her jersey at the team store?
I don't know. I
I
don't
might
think.
buy it. I actually might.
If they did,
If they did, I would.
that would be a good move on your part. Yeah, she's really good, and those freshmen really got it done this weekend. So proud of them. But Keegan Rothrock is our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. One hitter against Alabama in that win. Let us get to our Hesser and Kipke three things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener to this show, you know who we are by now. But if not, Google the firm, check out the reviews, or hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920, 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. Ken and I were texting back and forth all weekend. It's funny. He was at a Flyers hockey game. He's always somewhere. That's what I texted him. I said, it's always something with you. You're somewhere. You're either at Red Rocks watching a concert or I don't know, man. He's really living the life. I'm proud of him. All right, let's start off with number one. A lot of movement quarterback-wise over the weekend. And the stunner, like sometimes you get these things on your phone, these alerts, and it's always like CBS Sports. Watch Kansas versus Tennessee. And I nah. But this one blew my mind, which when I saw that Mac Jones had been traded to the Jaguars, and I was like, what? What? Well, what? Well, I guess it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Mac Jones grew up in Jacksonville, but that's not why they traded him. They traded him because they want to get rid of him. He's not good enough. You know what he's not good enough for? A crappy team, which is what the Patriots were the last couple of years. And he was put in a bad situation. They did not succeed in it. I think the Jaguars made a great deal. They gave up a 6th-round draft pick for a guy who could good enough backup to Trevor Lawrence. But it's clear that there's going to be a lot of moves made up there in New England. We also had quarterback movement. Russell Wilson signing with Pittsburgh. Interesting. Good? Bad? I have no idea. I know it's better than what they had. Maybe just a little bit better. And then Baker Mayfield, we were wondering where he was going to end up or if he was going to re-sign with the Bucs, and he did. So he signed with the Bucs. Big deal for Baker. Good for him. But I don't know what this means for Kyle Trask. Maybe it just means he's going to be another Shane Doug. Shane and Doug made a lot of money and are getting pensions because they were backups for most of their career. They did start a lot of games too, but for the most part, they were backups. So good for them. Let's get to number two on our Hesser and Kipke three things, and that is the brawl that I did want to talk about. I know Coach Spurrier and I talked about it. It was bizarre. Like I said, I was driving to the golf course because the day was so beautiful, and I just wanted to get there and do something. But I was listening to the game because it was a good game, and I heard the whole thing. But then when I got there, I ran in and wanted to watch it on TV. It was just, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that in any game, basketball game, but especially a women's game. But Camila Cardozo, of course, suspended for the first game like it matters. 6 players ejected. These teams do not like each other, and I hope they play again. The team I wanted to win won, by the way. I'll just tell you that.
I bet they meet in the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they'll be in the bracket. Oh, I don't know. LSU might be a 2, so they may be a 1-2 game. So we'll see how.
It'll be late.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be interesting. Look, there are a lot of people wrong here, especially the brother of the player who jumped over not only the hockey boards, but then the press area too, to get on the floor. And he was in jail last I heard. You can't do that. But it is weird how, and I mentioned this coach, a guy does that. Now it's wrong. I get that. But then I'm watching all these people storm courts. Well, they're on the court. They're not supposed to be on the court. I will say this: Stetson seem to do it the right way. They stormed the court after they won to go to the NCAA tournament. And they had a rope out, and the players were protected. I will say that. The students were all funneled away from the players, and that seemed to work. That seemed to be a good idea. Let's get to number 3, and that was Scotty Scheffler winning and putting on that jacket. The best quote, though, from Scheffler was when they asked him why he had grown his beard, and he goes, "I just got lazy. I didn't want to shave. And I went a few days, I didn't shave, and then I had to go somewhere, and I shaved my neck area, and then I went, man, I like not shaving." I get it, man. I agree. It is brutal just to shave this for this show, but I feel like I have to. Some days I don't do it, but I don't know. Shaving is like the least popular thing in the world, I think. I don't think anybody. Do you know of anybody who enjoys shaving? Who goes, "Hey, you know what? I think I may shave a second time today."
I think I might know of a few pretentious people who never actually. That's pretty rare.
You'd have to be really pretentious to go, "I can't wait to look at myself in the mirror and shave this off." That's another thing I don't like to do. All right, so that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. I can feel this. The sinus is overwhelming me here. So not luckily, but this is our last part of the show. Again, Pat Dooley's story time is available. And I told Zach off the air my Memphis robbery story. He loved it. So it's out there for you if you want to sponsor it. We can get you a lot of good things. Our Swamp games of the week are sponsored, of course, by the Swamp Restaurant, where a lot of people go to watch a lot of games. There's no doubt about it. So let's get to them. And, of course, they've got a lot of great specials, great food as well. Also a sponsor of the Bob Dooley Invitational, as I think everybody on this list is. Yes. There's one not. We'll work on him. All right, let's get to basketball, of course. The SEC tournament starts Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. I'm not suggesting you watch it, but you probably will be tempted because you just saw Vandy beat Florida, and you saw Arkansas, which should have beaten Alabama. And if Arkansas beats Alabama, that might have changed a lot of things, but I don't know if it did. But I just want to say this. Arkansas goes in for a dunk at near the end of the game. The guy from Alabama rakes him across the face, slams his face as he goes to dunk, and he misses the dunk because he's a guy assaulting him. No call, just like there was no call, or there was a call on Tyree Samuel's foul, which is a bad call. They go down and hit a 3. They go to overtime. Alabama wins it. It changed the dynamics of a lot of things that happened over this weekend. Now, like I always say, you got to play around the refs. But there are two referees I don't think should get postseason. Now, I don't even know who they are. I don't know their names. I'm not going to say them out loud if I did. But there are 2 referees who should be said, you're not doing postseason. Anyway, Vanderbilt, Arkansas at 7, and then Missouri, Georgia, 9:30, which we'll see if it's 9:30 or not. But that's the game, of course, you need to watch because that's who Florida will be playing. Of course, Florida plays at 9:30 on Thursday night. So, yeah, I'll watch. Will I watch it? Yeah, I've watched SEC basketball all year, so I'm going to watch those games. And I'm looking forward to the tournament. It's going to be a fun tournament. Florida baseball, FSU, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. on the SEC network. Ought to be interesting. I'll be interested to see who Florida pitches as well. So that'll be the game on Tuesday night. Florida baseball, FSU, 6 p.m. on the SEC network. And then tonight, of course, softball is playing 7 o'clock on the SEC network. And then they also have a game against Stetson on Wednesday. It's on the Plus, although the Plus and I are not getting along lately, I will tell you. Sometimes you go to the Plus and it goes, unable to retrieve this show. Well, we hit it again. I'm still unable to retrieve it. And then you realize it's not on ESPN Plus, it's on SEC Plus. No, it's not on SEC Plus, but it's on one of them. And then sometimes you just give up. I love I will just renew my subscription to the Plus, and it's mainly for baseball, but I need to get better at it. Anyway, that's going to do it for another Duly Noted podcast. Zach, thanks so much for doing a great job. And we appreciate all of our great guests. And, of course, coming back on Thursday with Allie Peak Wilbur. Look forward to that. Monday, Coach Spurrier will be back. Tuesday, special NCAA show. All that coming up. All that in Zach's hands. Until we come back next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.